a brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through merit.
But how will you reunite these kids with their families,
let me just tell you,
Mr. President?
They built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages. And then they had a picture in a certain newspaper, and it was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
These 500-plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents.
Again, I thought that was a great response by Joe Biden and something that really did hammer home Trump's worst point of the presidency. And with some of the rhetoric that he went there, the very almost Hitlerian kind of Nazi propaganda-esque for the concentration camps. Oh, they're being treated so well. This is great. Everything is going fine. They get hours of playtime. It's like a summer camp in there. I remember that was when it was first going on. Oh, that was just an absolute incomprehensible mess of epic proportions. But what Trump was able to do there that was to his effect was sow doubt about Joe Biden's record, so doubt about his efficacy, because everybody knows Obama and Biden had a bad immigration policy, deporting a record number of people. ICE work with them, local law enforcement work with Obama's ICE, and they're able to just wipe immigrants out across the board. But again, nobody cared because it was Obama. That was the big kind of knock on him. Trump only said immigrants with the lowest IQ would voluntarily report for a court hearing as well. That was a remark that grabbed some attention. Here's some interesting talk about raising the minimum wage and what that could do for small businesses.
We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. They're not. And
again, something I really want to point out about this discussion about who are they talking about? The small business owners or the people who work in them? What's the focus of these policymakers, these potential presidents?
Not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But these guys will not help them. It's not giving them any of the money.
We are going to move on to immigration,
one thing very
but I
quickly,
want
he
to get
said we
your
have
reaction.
to help our small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping. I think it should be a state option. Alabama is different than New York. New York is different from Vermont. Every state is different. It should be a state option.
You said very.
I think, I credit to Biden for, again, talking the 2020 talk, getting the 2020 Democrat chip planted in his brain. But for his entire career, I'll say it again, he was not the type of candidate to go out there and say, yes, I want to raise the minimum wage. He was not that type of person. So for him to come and say this is a little bit perturbing. It's like, are you really sure about that, Joe? Is Jamie Dimon gonna be your Treasury Secretary and that'll be the end of that? Or is Bernie Sanders gonna be your Labor Secretary and how wonderful, as he apparently, according to Politico, is trying to be? Could be interesting. I mean, it could go both ways, and I think that is something there where I think if you look at what small businesses actually say about this, and let's think about it ethically. If someone's working 40 hours a week and they're not paid $600 at the end of that week, I think that is a big problem. Like if you shouldn't be in business. I'm sorry. If you're not providing your workers enough to live, and that minimum wage I think is called by activists a living wage for a reason, then I'm sorry. Just that person, just don't hire him. Don't hire him in the first place if you can't pay them enough to live. I'm sorry. That is really what it should be. Because it is impossible to live a normal, healthy life on anything less in this country, really in almost all places at this point. yeah, so hopefully Biden again sticks up for that and goes hard on that. So I would really, really appreciate that, but we will see. We will see. I don't have a lot of hope for it personally, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Anyway, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden criticized President Donald Trump for touting his friendly relationship with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. And this is what I totally did not get from Joe Biden. And it really kind of shows me what he's doing is he's playing to an audience of people in Washington, D.C. who want to get the signals that things are going to go back to normal. They want to see that, oh, yeah, all right. We're gonna start talking like we normally did on North Korea. We're gonna start talking like we normally did, not just on North Korea, but with respect to the CIA, with respect to the FBI, giving them certain things back, like respect and cooperation from the White House that they haven't had. Like that is the signal that Joe Biden's trying to send here. That is what he's pushing for. And those are the signals that he's sending with all of his national security rhetoric, which I happen to find greatly disturbing. Because I really don't get it. What is the bad side to establishing a better relationship with a potential threat? That's all I'm going to say. What is the bad side especially for a Democratic candidate to be criticizing a Republican candidate politically and morally and national security wise? Why are we criticizing people for making threats less as opposed to more? I do not get that. But again, there is plenty of material for Trump to criticize, again, on his handling of North Korea, but Biden refuses to do it and is easily hit time and time again from the left. It is horrifying and incredibly disturbing to watch, in my opinion. What we see, like, what I would have said in this situation is, dude, you had an opportunity to make things better if you've been persistent with your negotiations and not been so incompetent that you had not destroyed all the progress that you had made and actually secured some legitimate peace for not just all the Americans, but Korea. Reunite Korea, secure safety for China, for Japan, for South Korea, all the countries in the region. It would be a huge step in the right direction. It was possible. It was palpable because Trump did it. He wasn't tied to those norms that establishment politicians like Joe Biden are bound by. But he was too incompetent, didn't care enough, screwed it up. It's just reality of the situation. All right. What else is going on here? Biden says that Obamacare is not going to be becoming Biden care. What he says he's going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option, making it becoming Biden care there. That's another thing where I will have to file under we'll see about that category. President Donald Trump, though, said he prepaid millions in taxes to explain why the New York Times reported that he'd only paid $750 in federal income tax in 2016. Deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly, Trump said. We made a deal. It was all settled until I decided to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly. So again, just the BS with the taxes, incredible. Continuing, for all the anticipation how President Trump would deploy Hunter Biden's business deals in the debate, it was Joe Biden who became the first to raise Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who has been leading the effort, really in a pretty incompetent way, to dig up dirt on the Bidens. He's being used as a Russian pawn, Biden said after name-checking Rudy and describing Trump's buddy, him as Trump's buddy. He's being fed information that's not true. And of course, that seems kind of, again, very controversial. I think it's something that probably isn't going to resonate with very many people because right-wing people can get all mad about it, but they, I think, have shown little ability to get the public to actually understand what the hell they're talking about. What I think they could probably understand is that Joe Biden is using his son, or he's using his position of power to get his son into a good job. Like, that is a fact. Like, I think we can say that without a fact. And people are going to, all in the comments, I can hear you already, it's not illegal, it's not illegal. Well, isn't the problem that it is, and that Joe Biden's just another member of that corrupt system that Trump railed against in 2016 and did nothing to solve 2016 through 2020? Yes, it is. That is just the facts of the situation there, and I think it's just foolish to deny it. And I really don't think if you're Biden here, you win by bringing this back to Russia. You can't just pawn everything off because that is ducking, and everybody knows that's not true. And Robert Mueller, you hung all your hopes on him, and nothing good came of it. So that was, again, another kind of strategy I did not like. But all in all, I think Trump probably did a little bit better than Biden just because he's great on such a curve. And not to say that Biden isn't, but in conclusion, this debate doesn't matter. Nothing matters. We are all screwed. We'll see you Friday for Uncultured.